But anyway, the lights are lighting up for the 2016 Austrian Grand Prix, and it's underway in a straight line, and Hamilton's going to try and make the move around the outside, and Ricciardo spun. Apart from the fact Perez is still leading it because he hasn't come into the pits yet, but he will now. So Sergio Perez finally coming in for his first pit stop. Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, and Ricciardo actually speared him into the back of a McLaren just as the race restarted. He got a puncture. Well, that's weird because they both came into the pits a few laps ago, so I don't know why they feel the need to come into the pits. They're not stopping. So he's battling with the Sauber. There's Gutierrez having a three-way battle up ahead. Gutierrez has spun out, and Ricciardo's day goes from bad to worse. Verstappen's fitting on the ultra-soft tyres, so away down the field, but he's going to be properly quick. I realised at lap 28 they weren't going to make it to the end, so we may as well do the same thing as Verstappen. But Carlos Sainz has brought the safety car, which actually has helped out me and Verstappen quite a lot, bunching up the field. And Carlos Sainz, yep, a Ferrari engine failure. Rosberg and Verstappen sped under the safety car, just like Hamilton and Bottas did a few laps ago. Hamilton, I don't know what he's doing off to the right hand side. It looks like he's coming into the pits. I admire the strategy he's done. I admire his and Force India's work this Grand Prix, but a win is out of the question for him. And Hülkenberg and Raikkonen are coming into the pits. There's about 2 laps left to go. This is the 3rd race in a row now. I've been gifted the win. I'm going to win the 2016 Austrian Grand Prix. Haryanto's in 7th. Rio Haryanto, what a day he's had. Look at this. This is a shot. This is a brilliant day for the independent teams because the factory teams have all messed up. Did someone just reverse the grid all of a sudden?
This is Formula One.
Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
Right then guys, it's PSL here, and today I'm here for part 9 in my Formula 1 2016 Williams career mode. And as you can see, I've reduced the chassis weight on this Williams, so, well, considering how well we've done the past 3 races, things are looking fantastic, especially as no other team has bought an upgrade. So we're catching up to Ferrari, Mercedes. Red Bull are still the team to beat apparently. We haven't really seen that out on track. McLaren, Honda behind us, and quite a way behind us. I mean, Spain, Monaco, they look like they were the up-and-coming threat, but we haven't really seen that recently. And one thing I just want to say is, obviously in the previous episode I asked you guys, to show the Austria episode some support if you wanted the series to carry on, and my word, the comments, the likes, everything was flooding in, so that is why this series is carrying on. I mean, the views, I can't really comment on the views yet because I'm recording this Saturday morning, so the video's only been out for 3 days, but yes, our new rival is Lewis Hamilton, but regardless, it's on to the qualifying report. Qualifying at a surprisingly sunny Silverstone saw Esteban Gutierrez eliminated during Q1 for the 2nd qualifying session in a row. Aside from that, it was a standard session with both Saubers at the back, followed by both Renaults, and finally the lone manor driver to be eliminated, Rio Haryanto. Q2 saw Fernando Alonso and Daniel Kvyat both get eliminated from qualifying, whilst their teammates made it into the top 10 shootout. Eliminated alongside them are Romain Grosjean, Pascal Wehrlein, and both Force India drivers are Perez and Hülkenberg. All of that means that the top 10 for the Grand Prix all line up like this. Carlos Sainz is in 10th, and Sebastian Vettel, who had a disappointing qualifying, will line up in 9th. Jenson Button is 4 places ahead of his teammate and is alongside Kimi Raikkonen. Both Mercedes, headed by Rosberg, are on the 3rd row. Verstappen and Quinn will line up directly behind their teammates, as Daniel Ricciardo qualified in 2nd, but astonishingly, Valtteri Bottas took pole position by over 0.7 of a second, which means he is looking very strong heading into his team's home Grand Prix here in Britain. Right then, so here we are on the race strategy screen, and as you can see, a 2-stop strategy is what's recommended for me. But that's bearing in mind that I'm starting on the second softest tyre compound, just like I did in Austria, and well, it worked out for me in Austria. Whereas you got Ricciardo, Verstappen, Bottas all starting on the soft tyres. And I mean, Bottas, what a qualifying lap he had. I mean, I did my lap in qualifying near the end of the session, was in seconds, and I thought, okay, that's brilliant, I'll stick with that. And then Bottas in the dying seconds beat all of us by over 0.7 of a second. But here's the sticks. Me, Rosberg, Hamilton and Raikkonen starting on the medium tyres, everyone else on the softs. So who knows what's going to happen, but I mean, starting on the second softest tyre compound worked wonders for me in Austria. Will that happen here in Britain as the lights are lighting up for the 2016 British Grand Prix, and it's underway, and it looks like Nico Rosberg behind is catching up to me. We got Max Verstappen on the far right hand side going into Abbey. Will he make the move on his teammate? No, he won't. It looks like Rosberg has got round the outside of him. I've gone round the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. So it's a Williams 1-2 here in Britain. Ricciardo in 3rd, Rosberg 4th, Verstappen 5th and Hamilton in 6th. Then it looks like it's both Ferraris behind, followed by, I think that's a McLaren actually. And so let's have a look at the start once again. So we saw what happened with me. I went round the outside of Ricciardo, and Verstappen got off to a brilliant start, but almost too good of a start because he couldn't get past his teammate, went way too tight into Abbey, and yeah, Rosberg, it was an easy move for him to get around the outside, and that's sort of a similar affair between me and Ricciardo. Further back, we got both Force Indias battling. So we've got Hulkenberg, Hulkenberg taking out his teammate, Perez. And he's going to rejoin the track, and he's taken out Gutierrez and both Renaults. And look at that, what a horrific accident between the 4 cars there. Oh my word, so there's Perez without a front wing. Hulkenberg took out Perez, let's not forget that. Both Force Indias, Vijay Mallya is not going to be happy with that. So on board from Gutierrez, the innocent bystander in all of this. So Gutierrez just going about his day, going down the Wellington Straight. There goes Perez, and he goes flying up in the air, does Gutierrez. I mean, that is a horrific accident to happen, especially on a main DRS straight like the Wellington Straight. That is horrific. And here we go, so from a off-board camera, and look at that, just gets launched into the air. Quite a horrific accident. And you know, people in my crash compilation video I made, people said, oh, well, the crashes you made were too forced. But I mean, the AI do stupid crashes as well. On board with Magnussen. So what happens to both Renault? So Palmer gets clipped by Perez, and Magnussen, if he just slowed down a little bit more, he wouldn't have been caught up in that mess. But both Renaults, their races have been destroyed. Magnussen's got a little bit of front wing damage, and Palmer has got no front wing. So Gutierrez is out of the race. Palmer and Perez have got no front wings, and Magnussen's got front wing damage. So further on into the first lap, we got Kvyat trying to make a move around the outside of Alonso, around Copse. That hasn't worked, and Kvyat is sideways on the exit of Copse, and it looks like that is Pascal Wehrlein in the manner who has been taken out because of that. I mean, that was just an overtaking move that went wrong and went very ugly very quickly. I mean, that is dangerous. That is such a dangerous place to be parked, and Wehrlein just misjudged that. I mean, that's a violent crash. I mean, that would have been terrifying if you were Kvyat to be in that position. But anyway, this is not on the first lap. Finally, something that has happened not on the first lap, and it's that it looks like Nico Rosberg is trying to go around the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. That hasn't worked, and it looks like Ricciardo actually has gone into the pits. This is lap 3, and he's felt the need to come into the pits already. There's also Sebastian Vettel and a McLaren. I think that's Fernando Alonso. But crucially, Ricciardo and Vettel cannot do more than 3 laps on their soft tyres. That's ridiculous. Ricciardo's fitting on some more soft tyres. He's been jumped by Vettel in the pits, and Vettel has put on, let's have a look, some medium tyres. So very different strategies, but both of them pitting in ridiculously early. So who knows what's going on? I mean, lap 4, this is only 1 lap afterwards. I'm still in second. We still got Rosberg right up behind me, and Valtteri Bottas, he's only been able to do 1 more lap on his soft tyres, and he's going to come into the pits already. So I'm feeling pretty glad I'm actually starting on the medium tyres, because the soft tyres could do no distance in the race seemingly, so it's me in first with Rosberg and Hamilton directly behind. Of course, Kimi Raikkonen won't be too far behind as well, because he started on the medium tyres as well. Lap 5, and wow, going around Chapel, we've got a hideous exit going out of there, and Nico Rosberg, he's got the DRS, and obviously he's got the same engine as us, and that was just an easy move for him, because we got such a horrific exit out of the Chapel corner. And these tyres, I mean, sure, these tyres, at least we can do more than 4 laps on these medium tyres, but there isn't exactly a lot of grip on them, and as Kimi Raikkonen is proving, because he's coming into the pits, and that is Lewis Hamilton as well. So, I mean, Ricciardo and Vettel pitted on lap 3, Bottas lap 4, Raikkonen and Hamilton on lap 5. Lots of people are pitting in very early. I don't know when Verstappen pitted, but he also pitted in ridiculously early as well. And it looks like Hamilton's got the jump on Raikkonen, but crucially both of those guys have fitted on medium tyres, which is sort of what I would expect. Lap 7, and Nico Rosberg is now coming into the pits. I thought about it, but I thought surely these tyres can go longer. And they can go longer, but, well, we'll find out in a second why you shouldn't really take them longer than Rosberg's doing. So Rosberg, he's the guy we got to watch out for, because he's the guy who's essentially leading this race. Apart from, well, it depends where Bottas has emerged out of all of this. But Rosberg fitting on some more medium tyres. So we're the last of the front runners to be pitting in. And as you can see, Ricciardo is now in the lead. Well, he probably will emerge out ahead of us, because he's got a several lap undercut, and he's on the soft tyres, and he's got ahead of Bottas, so he's obviously going to take the lead. But yeah, we pit in on lap 8, but as we can see, Ricciardo will get by very, very soon. Yep, there goes Ricciardo and Bottas, but worryingly, so is Hamilton, Rosberg, and Vettel, and Kimi Raikkonen all get by. So everyone apart from Max Verstappen has jumped us, because we took the medium tyres so far into the race. I think we were caught in a hideous middle ground where we took them too long to get undercutted, but not long enough to do a stop less. So we've made a blunder in that. Someone has come into the pits, is Daniel Ricciardo, because, well, I mean, he's done 2 stints on the soft tyres, and as we know, the soft tyres can't really do a lot of distance. So we're up into 6th place. That means Bottas is now leading the Grand Prix, Hamilton 2nd, Rosberg 3rd, but Bottas, we saw the qualifying pace he had. That has not translated into race paces. Going into the Cops, Hamilton has just about made that move work. And I am not brave enough to make a move into Cops. I mean, we saw what happened with Kvyat and Alonso, and obviously Verline, who was caught up in that. I do not want to make a move into Cops for fear of something like that happening again. And up into 5th place now, as Vettel has pitted in. And obviously Vettel was on the medium tyres, but he came in on lap 3. So, I mean, everyone ahead of me is on the same strategy, I think. But Vettel, I don't know, because he's pitted in so early. I mean, this is, I think, 3 laps after Vettel's pitted. We're all still out. And Raikkonen is making a move on Bottas. Bottas, I mean, the qualifying pace he had was astronomical, but race pace, just not that good, really. I mean, both Mercedes, Raikkonen, and it looks like I'm going to get past him as well. I mean, my race pace has been okay, but making a move into Cops, I said I didn't want to make a move into Cops, but I'm going to try it anyway, and I've outbroken myself. But I'll tell you what, it's much better to outbrake yourself than it is to spin around, out of the exit of Cops. But at the end of lap 15, Bottas is coming into the pits, so we didn't need to make that move into Cops anyway. It looks like, I think, Raikkonen and Hamilton have come into the pits. Yeah, so they're all coming in on the same lap. So that just leaves me and Rosberg out. And we were the last 2 to pit on the previous stint. And we're going to be the last 2 to pit on this stint as well. But I have come in on the same lap as Rosberg. But Rosberg's several seconds ahead of me. So things aren't looking too great. As you see, he's already exited his pit box before we've even entered. Fitting on the hard tyres, that is what most other front runners have done, I believe. Is what Vettel's done. I don't really know about Ricciardo at this point, because Ricciardo, he just seems to have an obsession with the soft tyres, which doesn't really work. And it's also against the rules because you have to use two different types of dry tyre compound anyway. But Sebastian Vettel, look at the undercut he's got. Because, I mean, he's essentially taken the lead of the race. If he can protect first place on Nico Rosberg, who's just exited the pits, and obviously Rosberg's got much fresher tyres, but Vettel's are up to temperature, and Sebastian Vettel, going down the Wellington Straight, he's now under threat from Lewis Hamilton, 3 wide at the exit of the Wellington Straight, going around Luffield. Rosberg, he's got the inside line, surely he'll do it, and I think he has. Hamilton actually clips the back of Vettel, but Rosberg has taken the lead of the British Grand Prix. So there we go. So Vettel got a mega undercut, but his tyres are going to be so worn by the end of it. I mean, he's done about 4 laps more on his hard tyres than I have, and about 3 laps more than the other guys. But Valtteri Bottas, he's in a train with Raikkonen, Hamilton and Vettel. I mean, we dove it up the inside of Valtteri Bottas quite easily because Vettel, he is holding up a train, and I think that's because his hard tyres, well, they're not that worn at the moment, but he's going to have to conserve them to be able to do the rest of the race without stopping again. And now look, going down the Hangar Straight, going into Stowe, and in fact, well, I mean, even before Stowe corner, Hamilton has made the move up into second place, so it is predictably a Mercedes 1-2, Vettel 3rd, Raikkonen 4th, and then it's myself, then Bottas. And that is actually a Red Bull off in the distance. I think that's Max Verstappen. So, I mean, I have no idea what has happened to Ricciardo this race, because he's just stopped so many times, really, and Verstappen has had no race pace, really. And it looks like, actually, both Ferraris have overtaken Hamilton. So, I thought Vettel didn't really have much pace at the moment in the race, but I'll be damned, because, I mean, he got back past Hamilton, and going around the last couple of corners, I've got past Hamilton, and going around the last corner, I'm actually able to hold it around the outside of Kimi Raikkonen. What a move that was, and I'm up into 3rd place at my home Grand Prix. But annoyingly for the British crowd, we got a German driver in a German car in 1st, and a German driver in an Italian car in 2nd. But you know, I'm representing the Brits at their home, well, at my home Grand Prix, at the team's home Grand Prix, in 3rd place. But there's a yellow flag. Looks like there's a car off to the side. There's a Renault that's off to the side. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe there's been some kind of car failure for the Renault. I mean, they've had a horrid day, obviously, of their turn 1 incident. And a safety car has been brought out. I don't feel that's really needed. I mean, yellow flags at the scene, certainly, because there's a car pulled off to the side. But a safety car seems a little bit drastic. So, here's what happened, because Rosberg's so far ahead, we didn't really see it. So it's Rosberg trying to lap Kevin Magnussen. He actually clips Magnussen and sends him into a spin, going down the old start-finish straight, and that's... wow, I mean, the lack of spatial awareness from those guys there. I mean, I don't know who was really at fault. I would say Magnussen, because it's his job to get out of the way, but on board from Magnussen, so he moves over to the far right-hand side. Ooh, that's... I've got to say, that is Rosberg's fault. I mean, Magnussen moved over to the far right hand side, and yeah, sure, that's the racing line, but wow. And that's brought the safety car, and it's also brought Vettel into the pits. I mean, Vettel pitted in ridiculously early. I was amazed that if he was going to make it to the end without stopping again, but surely he should just stay out. There's only a few laps left to go, but he's come into the pits, fitted on some soft tyres, and he's in 7th place. And bearing in mind the safety car is going to bunch up the field, he's looking quite strong right now. Bartehu's looking quite strong, I'm looking quite strong, as with, well, 2 laps left to go, I'm right up behind Nico Rosberg. I mean, my race pace hasn't been brilliant. My pit stop strategies this race has been not too great as well. I've been undercutted by everyone, but it looks like Rio Haryanto's out of the race. But with 2 laps left to go, the racing gets back underway, and Nico Rosberg, he's already pulled out quite away from me. And then, I just don't have the grip that the Mercedes has. I mean, we've both got the same tyres with the same age, but Rio Haryanto, we saw Vettel had some bad luck when the safety car came in Austria. He had a tyre puncture, but it looks like Rio Haryanto's got an engine failure as soon as the safety car came in. That is unlucky. And this is a guy who finished 7th in the previous race as well. But, speaking of Sebastian Vettel, so obviously he was in 7th, looking quite strong because, you know, he would have had brand new soft tyres, but he's gone into the pits. I don't know what his thinking is. He's got brand new tyres, he doesn't need to stop again, and that's destroyed his race. So, well done Vettel, well done. We don't have to worry about him anymore. I do have to worry about Rosberg. I mean, going down the hangar straight for the last time, and the problem is the safety car came in with only 2 laps to go. We're catching up to Rosberg, but the problem is there's no DRS. The safety car came in too late, and there were a couple of opportunities where I would have got past Rosberg if I had DRS. With a couple of corners left to go, can I dive it up the inside? And no, I was just a little bit too far away. Maybe if I was a little bit more adventurous on the brakes, maybe I could have overtaken him, but maybe I could have taken us both out. Who knows? But regardless, Nico Rosberg wins the British Grand Prix, and I've taken an arguably not very deserved 2nd place. I mean, my race pace was alright to be fair, but I mean, I did get lucky with Vettel holding up everyone. But here's a replay of what happened. When me and Rosberg were battling, we did miss out this. I mean, I couldn't overtake Rosberg without DRS, but it looks like Hamilton was able to overtake Kimi Räikkönen without the aid of DRS, and yes, he did. The inside line going into Stowe, and I think that just shows the difference in power between the Mercedes and Ferrari engine, because, you know, the Williams is a bullet in a straight line, but 2 Mercedes engine cars without DRS, it was just... I think there were 3 overtaking opportunities, twice down the hangar straight and once down the Wellington straight. I could have got past Rosberg if I had DRS, but without it, it was just impossible. But there we go. That's actually a familiar podium, unlike in Austria where the podium was quite unfamiliar. And as you can see, race results, Rosberg, me, Hamilton, Räikkönen, Bottas. There's Verstappen, just had an anonymous race post the first corner. Ricciardo in 8th, he stopped 4 times. And so did Vettel. I mean, I don't think this needs to be said, but the full stop strategy really didn't work, and both Renaults the only cars to get lapped. Drivers' Championship, right up behind Nico Rosberg now. Well, I mean, we're actually both on equal points. He's overtaken me on countback, but we're both on equal points, and we're both only a few points behind Hamilton. So, at the moment, a 3-way battle for the Drivers' Championship, and both Saubers still the only cars not to score points. Hulkenberg only just overtaking Pascal Wehrlein. I mean, that is about time, really. I'm amazed it's taken them this long. And Constructors' Championship, not much to say apart from the fact that Mercedes are finally upping their game, and it means that maybe we won't beat them in the Constructors' Championship, but we've still got over half the season left to go. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Not quite as crazy of a race as Austria, but I mean, hey, not every race can be like Austria. Very few races are like the previous one. But anyway, I hope this race was still entertaining, and I'll see you guys next time for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So I'll see you then.